It's the final podcast of Podcast Week, and I couldn't find a better guest to do this with, only because he's the only person I could find to do a podcast with. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Or don't. I doubt this person will care either way. Welcome everyone to the EWA Podcast. It's Podcast Week still, and want to welcome a guest. He is a second-time guest now on the EWA Podcast. He's someone who hasn't really been around the EWA for a while. He's been off doing wrestling training, but welcome Fat Dylan to the EWA Podcast.
I'm from Mexican Dylan. Thank you very much.
That's right. And how has training with Funaki been?
It's been really good. I'll tell you one thing, though. He does not like it when you pretend to be Chinese. He hates that.
He doesn't like that? Did you
don't do that.
Did you act like you were Chinese with him?
No, with the eye, you tip the eyes back. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
I thought he'd be fun. I thought he'd like it, but no.
No? Did you go, indeed?
Well, you got it, right?
Did you try that?
Well, when I started just like yelling at his face, like, indeed, what? And, and he did not like that, no.
I tell you, this is fascinating stuff, Fat Dylan.
Yeah,
now, what's it like having your mom and sister be friends with Steve on Facebook?
It is, it's the worst pain imaginable, really. It's,
Now, have you had gonorrhea?
I have not yet. Wait.
Oh, what? Well, you got it now. You got it. I should have told you before we started recording this podcast, but you've got it now.
Oh, shit.
That's all right. You can just give it to Steve. That's where I got it from anyways.
Oh, so he already has it?
Yeah, that's who gave it to me. Obviously I'm talking to the Snowman. Dylan,
yes.
Welcome to the EWA Podcast. Thank you for being a part of this.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me back on.
And I wanted to have you on. It's been a long time since we've talked. A lot of things have gone on. Let's go ahead and jump right into the meat of things. Right now you have Al Snow campaigning for a spot in Super Brawl. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's about time Al Snow had a Super Brawl, because he hasn't had one since 2008, which is when he started, which is a big surprise. Why wouldn't you pick Al Snow for your team? He's brilliant. He does all the things. Also, mainly I want to get Al Snow into Super Brawl to annoy Steve, because if somebody could pick like Al Snow over Christian, that would be the best thing ever. If they had the choice, Christian or Al Snow, they go, I'm going to go with Al Snow. He seems pretty reliable. That'd be really good.
Do you think someone would pick Christian over Zigzwag right now?
Yes.
Wouldn't you?
Yes, but again, if I was picking him, I'd pick Al Snow. So
now, if Newt approached you with the idea of Al Snow being a part of the Super Brawl series, is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah, but I don't think he'd ever. I'd do it, but it's like Al Snow being in the first round of the King of the Ring. You know what I mean? He's there, but he's not gonna win it.
Now, do you really feel that way? I mean, you were a captain last year.
Yeah, but it's different though. A serious guy. It kind of makes sense that he's there, against these other good. See, I feel really bad when I role play as Al Snow with these really shitty, stupid, ridiculous role plays, and then I end up beating people who actually are good. So it's very strange. So with Steve Blackman, he's a serious role player. He goes up against serious guys. It's very hard to write for, but the efforts is put in, and therefore I feel like it's justified him appearing at Super Brawl. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Al Snow, it feels more like he is kind of a joke character, and it's kind of funny to imagine the joke character getting picked over the legitimately serious guys who really want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've recorded a podcast with Corey, and it's already seen the light of day. You haven't heard it yet. And in there, we talked about the Al Snow character and your role plays with him. And in there, I said, I think that you get a better sense of pleasure and enjoyment when Al Snow gets victories over when Steve Blackman would get victories. I kind of feel like you put a lot more, I'm not going to say a lot more effort and time, but I think you try and you're really trying to get Al Snow established, and I don't think you would want anything more than for Al Snow to have some kind of title or be a part of a Super Brawl team. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah, kind of. The Super Brawl thing started off as a joke, really, and I thought, well, I can actually sponge a couple of role plays out of this. Let's just keep doing it. But what I really kind of want Al Snow to be a tag champ again, you know? Because I'll be honest here, I'm pretty certain he's not going to make it to the Triple Crown, you know? Unless, you know, Super Brawl hits. It could happen. So that's kind of the picture. It'd be nice to go for the national championship again, but I like Al Snow and the BWO being a team, you know? So I'd like to kind of knock the tag titles out again.
Would they use the Freebird rules?
I think they would this time. They haven't before, but they definitely would this time if it happened.
Everyone's legal.
Yeah, Kurgan would be in it. The Iron Sheik. Oh, it'd be brilliant.
I want to take on Sheiky Baby and Clementine for the tag team titles, please.
I'm not even sure if Clementine's still around.
Oh.
Although she might pop up, you know, come to the Brawl with the campaign. You know, Al Snow.
How has Clementine not like soured and just?
Well, it's a different orange every time because the first time Clementine appeared, like they smashed her up, I think, or they ate her, and then Clementine appeared at ringside one time when Colt Cabana was in a match, and they beat the crap out of Clementine then as well. So it's
now did Newt write that?
Possibly. I think he likes Clementine. So, like, the different oranges popped up a couple of different times. Don't tell Colt, obviously. He'd be devastated. But
yeah, that's... I didn't know that we were going to get in such behind-the-scenes stuff here with BWO like this. So, Clementine. Yeah, now, is Al Snow the same every time?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
There's been a couple of times it's been a robot. There's been a couple of times Colt Cabana's been a robot because at some point, I remember I wrote a roleplay where he had horse legs. And nobody ever called me on that. Nobody said why in this roleplay is Colt got horse legs.
I almost feel like you're just exempt to everything.
Well, I figured nobody reads them. That's why.
No, I don't think it was nobody reading it. I think everybody's just like, well, this is what he's doing. Colt Cabana has horse legs. How am I supposed to react to this? Yeah. Recently, Al Snow was in a bigger feud with Eddie Kingston over the national title.
Yeah.
That match initially was planned to be on the King of the Ring pay-per-view, but was bumped to the Slam afterwards.
Yeah.
What was your thought process behind that? Did that bother you at all? Did it really matter to you? Was this a feud that you felt like Al Snow could win?
A little bit. I thought I had a shot anyway. I'm like, yeah, I could do this. There's a good chance, you know. Because I know Newt likes. He kind of gets that kind of humor, you know. It's really good. I just gotta, you know, learn not to push it too far whenever I actually want to win a match, you know. But I like the way that it was bumped off the King of the Ring movie because it actually meant that the week after Al Snow got to headline a Slam, which really is more significant for the character, because you know he's billed as a big stupid loser, which he kind of is. So it's nice for him to get like a little moral victory. You know, he still lost the match, but he got the headline a Slam, and he's done it a couple of times this year, I think. So nice.
So is Al Snow just like the eternal underdog?
I think so. I don't think you could find anybody with a worse win-loss record than Al Snow. You know, he loses an awful lot.
And how I know we've kind of touched on it last podcast you were on, but for those listening to this one, how do you react to that, taking L after L with Al Snow at times?
Well, that's the thing. I don't really mind because that's the fun of this guy. I just like write anything I want and just post it, and then if I win, that's unbelievable. Usually means my opponent has no showed. But if I lose, it's like no big deal because I just wrote a bunch of crap that means nothing to anybody. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like getting random matches because I just like writing stupid things. Yeah.
And at the time of this podcast, you have a match coming up with the new Daniel Bryan.
Yes, I do.
And have you? And you posted one role play about PR.
Yeah.
I tried to read it before I came in here and did this podcast with you. There's a lot of stuff going on in there, Dylan.
Did you read it?
I got through a good portion of it.
Did you get to the newspaper?
The new super?
The newspaper.
Oh, the newspaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the big meanie and what happened there. How do you come up with half this stuff?
That was my favorite bit. That was going to be something different. The picture, I'm going to spoil the roleplay for everybody who hasn't read it, which is everybody. But the picture was, in my head, I had the idea of a newspaper, and on the front cover of the newspaper was Fat Man Dresses Dog. And there was going to be a picture of the Blue Meanie holding up a dog that was dressed up like Superman or something. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really funny because it's a really stupid thing to put on the front of a newspaper. Yeah. And then I started photoshopping it, and it didn't work. So I changed it to Fat Man Eats Dog, which was way funnier. And you got a brilliant picture of the Blue Meanie eating that dog. So I thought, well, we'll go with that then. Fat Man Eats Dog.
Yes, but how do we start from point A and get to point B where the Blue Meanie is eating a dog?
Well, that's it. I just thought, what would be really funny? Oh, yeah, I know. The Blue Meanie dresses up a dog. That's really funny. I don't know what, can't really explain it. Just, that's what happens with Alice Neuroplay. I just start thinking of really stupid stuff, and then I go, well, I can write that. That's brilliant, because, nobody reads them. It's perfect.
And nobody else could get away with that.
Yeah, I think so. But, I don't know. It's probably because I've been doing it for so long,
Yeah. Well, the Al Snow Eddie Kingston match had such a secondary dynamic to it because Will was playing Kingston as this super intense, pissed off at the world. He's the complete antithesis of Al Snow. And then Will came out and personally, I thought, had a great second role play, the one where it was very Al Snow-like.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I actually thought that was really, really well done.
Yes, where he... But I think it wound up being a dream sequence. But in there, he was messing with Glacier and Ice Train and was riding a bus with a dog. And I guess what I'm asking is, how does that make you feel that this is what, at times, people have resorted to?
I like it. I like it because an awful lot of the time, whenever people role play against me, you'll see really samey role plays, like a lot of people either avoid talking about me as much as they can. It'll be like a wee character development role play, and then at the end it'll go, by the way, Al Snow, you better watch your back or I'll stab you in the gut, or it'll be like a big serious throw, and it's just like, oh, Al Snow, he's a big joke. You know what's not a joke? He punched you in the face next week. Ew! And it's
basically everyone would have to come out and say the same thing. They're like, your whole life's a joke. It's time for you to take this serious whenever you step in the ring next week. That's the basis of every opponent for Al Snow.
Pretty much. And I imagine that's because they go looking through the role play to pick on something. Like you could read a role play and you kind of react to it in your role play. I know we don't do it so often, but Al Snow usually ends up fighting you guys who pop up on a match. I'm like, I'll give him a match, whatever. So you always see them kind of, I always imagine reading my role plays, trying to pick up on something, like, I'll get him on this, that son of a bitch, and they start reading the role play, and it's just, Al Snow taking ballet lessons or something, and like, what the fuck, what the hell do I do for this?
Yeah, I imagine there must just be a confusion that sweeps over the newer members whenever that's what they see in, like, one of their first matches. I
kind of felt really bad about that as well, because, like, the EWA is a really, really good EFED. It's like, it's easily the best one I've been in. It's got, like, incredibly talented role players. And then these new guys come in, and they're like, oh, EWA, I've heard a lot about this place. It must be really good. I'll have a match, please. Who's my first opponent? Oh, Al Snow. Oh, I bet he's really good. Yay. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, my God, this is the worst role play ever. The EWA is the worst EFED ever, and they leave,
How many people do you think you've run off in the last year?
Hopefully 70.
70?
I'm shooting for 70.
Wow. So is that why whenever you get bored, you make accounts like the new Fandango recently?
Yeah, that's why. Because
That was you. Admit it. That was you.
You think that was me?
No, I don't. But I've accused everyone this week on the podcast of it being them, so I have to continue by saying it was you, right?
It's most logically going to be me, right?
No.
I mean, that guy did nothing but antagonize everybody else. And he was always online whenever I was online.
Well, I guess that is true. It has to be then, right?
Oh, yeah.
They had to have been trolling us because no person acts like that.
I'm pretty sure that's the same Ryback guy who's just, I think he's just an idiot and I think he's just like a really young guy and he's never been through an EFED before and he's like, oh, I can play with you guys, yeah. And then, which explains his terrible grammar and his just awful sense of humor, you know?
Well, he's still not ever been a part of the EWA. So
well,
I just saw his account on the forum. Newt has still banned him, but he cannot access or any part of the forum.
Excellent. Is it because Ryback guy was also Hunico, right? Vince did the same, and me and Hunico did this segment.
Oh shit! Yes, you know what? I didn't even have that in my mind for us to talk about. Let's talk about the Mexican terrorist match.
Yay!
And did you have any workings like through PMs or anything with Hunico at all over that?
Yeah.
Really?
I wrote that in the shout box. I'm like, Mexican terrorist match. Ha! Fuck you, you know. And then he.
I like the end part.
Yeah, and then he PM'd me, goes, hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. Mexican terrorist match, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And I'm like, all right, are you sure? It's not going to end well for you. And he's like, no, yeah, let's do it. So then I was like, all right, well, what I'll do is I'll write up a wee segment that'll somewhat explain this Mexican terrorist match instead of just having it. I wrote up this segment and I sent it over to him. I'm like, there you go. It was pretty much complete, but there was a wee space at the end where I said you can add whatever you want. You know, it says like Hunico coded, and then like insert lines here.
Yeah.
I'm like, just write that there. And the other Hunico lines I had just written in as placeholders, that he could change just so that they would fit the dialogue. But I was quite happy with them because it made Hunico's character seem pretty strong against Al Snow. I thought this is really good, Mm-hmm. I sent it over to him, and he sends it back to me, and it's just the worst. Oh, it's just awful. Unbelievably bad. The bit that I told him that says Hunico, insert lines here, he didn't touch that at all. He just must
Hunico's lines were insert line here?
Yeah, and he was like, he left that alone, didn't touch that. And then just added, he just stuck his own bit in to the middle where he made up Al Snow dialogue and Hunico dialogue. That was about Al Snow's wife. And about how the Blue Meanie had sex with Al Snow's wife, and then Colt Cabana was angry because he didn't have sex with Al Snow's wife. And that's just in the middle. He just put this in the middle of the seg, so you can read the segment, and
that he sent it off to Newt. He didn't send it back to you.
Well, he did, but that was just, because it stayed in, and I sent it to Newt, and I'm like, dude, Hunico added this terrible bit in the segment, and I bolded it just in case you want to, I put it in bold so he could see which bit was Hunico, and I'm like, if you want to cut it out because it's garbage. He left it in, but he took the bold tags out, so you couldn't tell which was which. But the seg's, it's still there on whatever show that was in. The whole seg's there with the Hunico bit, and you can totally tell where it changes. Because the grammar gets all terrible, and it talks about,
It's
sex.
almost like it's in a different kind of handwriting. It's like, This is not by the same person.
P.S. Alistair's a dick, it's just right at the bottom.
Hey, all this other stuff. Oh yeah, well, Blue Meanie slept with your wife.
It was so, like, I was like, where did you get that from? Where did the wife, Alistair's got a wife now?
Yeah, that's what you should have wrote in there. You should have had Alistair been like, I'm married?
I think I did add that at the bottom. Like, I have a wife. I have to check. I don't know, but it was just awful. And then, like, the day before the Mexican terrorist match, Sarah banned Hunico. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, well, fuck this. Now everybody's gonna know who's gonna win. It's not fair.
Yeah, I think we all knew going in.
That was the Blue Meanie who fought him, right?
Yeah, that's the last time the BWO has been on a pay-per-view, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, maybe. Or was it at the PPV? I can't even fucking remember.
Yeah, it was like a pre-show type thing. Oh no, you guys were on Return of the Living Damned against.
We got the pre-show that time. I phoned that one in. I'm really really annoyed about that. Like work kicked my ass, and then I hate like posting role plays on a Saturday because Nude's got a really tough job anyway. He doesn't need me adding to the pain in the ass by posting role plays on Saturdays. I usually like spacing them out. But whatever day the pay-per-view's on, I had no time to post a role play other than like 12:30 at night on a Saturday, and I felt really bad about it.
Yeah. Now, without delving too far into your personal life, what do you do for work?
I work in a bookshop.
A bookshop?
Yeah.
That's got to see its like ups and downs, though.
Kind of. It's mainly a drain on my time. I'm in there all the time.
Is it a busy place? Like, is it a huge chain, or is it one of those like smaller stores?
It's not a huge chain, but it's like a wee chain that goes around. It's not like really big, but it gets pretty busy. And we don't have a supervisor, so I have to go in and be the supervisor. But I'm not the supervisor. I'm not getting paid to be a supervisor, but I have to do all the hours and all the work the supervisor does.
You guys, if you're listening to this, hashtag promote Dylan. We got to trend this worldwide right now.
Yeah, or what I could just do is just quit, and then I have more time to roleplay. Yay!
Well, yeah, and you could book 10 matches a week for the EWA.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I dropped Blackman as well. I just couldn't be bothered. Because
that's a great segue into where I was going with this. We haven't seen the likes of Steve Blackman around for a while. In fact, I couldn't even tell you the last time Blackman was on EWA programming. What's going on with Steve Blackman right now, Dylan?
Well, that was supposed to be way bigger than it was. It was like at the beginning of the year, I got really tired of Blackman. I kind of whenever I do the serious characters, I get really burnt out after a while. Mm-hmm. But I never take a break. I just kind of burn the characters out and then be done with them. Mm-hmm. And then be Al Snow for a bit till I get the itch to go back to the serious guy. So with Blackman, this whole year I just didn't feel him. I couldn't do a really good roleplay that I was really proud of. It was just garbage. It was the same stuff I was doing last year, only not as good, and I just wasn't feeling them. So I wanted to do a really big send-off for Blackman to just get him out of the way and retire him. That's it. He's not coming back ever. He's out of the picture. And it was going to have, be Steve Blackman versus Paulton Burchill versus Masaru Tanaka.
Yes,
who were all part of the Sublime Empire. And it was going to be really, really big. And at the end of it, Paulton Burchill was going to snap Steve Blackman's leg in two, basically, just break his leg. And then, Blackman would be taken screaming out of the place in agony. He wouldn't be able to wrestle again. His doctor would say, you snapped your leg in 8 places. You can't wrestle again.
Well, you don't really need to be a doctor to do that.
Well, yeah, but you know what Steve Blackman's like. He'd do it anyway. It's like,
If it was Al Snow, it would just be like a homeless guy told him he couldn't wrestle. But Steve Blackman has to have a doctor tell him.
Yeah, he needs to wrestle. Yeah. But then, it just didn't find. I didn't have enough time to put the effort in that I needed to. Mm-hmm. And then Dan kind of dropped off, so it was just me and Jeff doing it. So it didn't really play out the way I wanted it to, and it didn't have the impact that it should have had. And I don't think, nobody really knows what the deal is with Blackman. When really the deal should have been he's off the team. He's out of here. So officially he's retired, but I guess they could have done a way better job of.
So he's done. You come out and saying that you are done with Steve Blackman.
Yeah.
Well, under the very off chance someone wanted to use him, you would be okay with that.
I don't really see anybody wanting to be Steve Blackman,
Of course.
Like one of you guys doing it just to be a prick or something. Steve standing up to Steve Blackman going, gonna be a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Or just trying to ruin the character for some reason. I don't really mind. I really liked what I did with Blackman, though. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying the level of success that you have with Blackman. I mean, you had a hell of a 2012 with him.
Yeah. I thought 2012 was the best I role played. I was really, really happy with the way I'd role played. Not just the Steve Blackman, but I thought that was the best I'd done in the EWA probably. You know?
But you just don't have that itch to do that kind of serious writing anymore?
Not right now. I actually have an idea for a character, and I really, really want to bring him in so bad. but I don't have the time for it, you know, because it'll take a time for this guy to really get over. But whenever I get the time for it, I'm going to bring him in, and it's going to be brilliant.
But it's not
different.
Anything to do with Steve Blackman. We're talking a completely new thing, right?
It's a completely new. It's like the most modern guy I've ever played. All the guys who have played in the EWA have been from like the year 2001. Every guy. So this guy's going to be a bit more up to date.
Would you ever get tired of writing Al Snow and that stuff, the BWO stuff?
No way. I haven't got tired of it yet, and I've been doing that. Like, Al Snow was the second character I ever roleplayed as. And that was like 2002, I think. And it's like, that's so sad that it's 2013 now, I'm still doing it. But, yeah, I just, because there's so much you can do with that guy. You know what I mean? You can just do whatever you want. He's kind of untouchable. Well,
have you ever written a BWO roleplay and afterwards been like, this is the fucking dumbest thing I've ever done?
Yeah, a couple of times. But the horse legs one was that's probably a pretty good example of that. Because sometimes I'll post it and go, God damn it, that was just stupid. Most of the time, though, I'll write one and I go, God damn it, that sucked. That really sucked, you know. But I post it anyway because I can't be bothered to redo it.
Yeah. What is your, I know you've been doing this for quite a while, but what's your favorite BWO roleplay you've ever done? Do you remember it?
That's really hard because there's been like way too many of them. There was a really good one that I was looking through some of the old ones a while ago, and I found a really good one. Well, I thought it was really good, and nothing really happens, but it was just really funny, where Al Snow makes the ultimate gaming device, you know, like a video game experience, which is basically just a chair, like with a harness of it, taped to the ceiling, and you play N64 through it, and that's it. That was all it was. And then he makes this, and then he goes to see a psychiatrist, and then he comes back and he plays the game, and that was the whole roleplay, but it was really funny.
I think that might have been against me for some reason.
That you are incorrect, sir. And that, I believe, was against Steve Corino and Homicide.
Oh, really?
Yes, because there was two role plays, and that was the second one. And
it's tough to say because you play a lot of video games in yours. I was like,
I do an awful lot. Yeah. There was another role play I did a while ago, and I can't remember what happened in it, but I remember the beginning really vividly. Because I remember writing it and I thought that it was just going to be a couple of lines, a couple of paragraphs, and it ended up being like half the roleplay. Where at the beginning of the roleplay, Colt Cabana is running through the corridors trying to get to the BWO locker room to tell Al Snow that he's got a mask. No, I can't remember what he has to tell Al Snow, but he has to tell Al Snow something. And he gets stopped by some guy who works backstage. He's like, hey, where you running to, young man? And Colt Cabana explains the whole situation, and that was really funny. I can't tell you, like, what happened to it either. You got to read them, but
I have to go back and read them all.
I'll go and look for them and I'll post them.
BWO roleplays are like Pokemon. I gotta catch them all.
Thank you. Yay! Have you played the new ones? They're really good.
No, I haven't played Pokemon in forever.
Oh, what? You're missing out, dude.
I know. Do you think that you would ever take the Al Snow character down a more traditional or serious route?
Well, that's kind of what I'm doing with this Super Brawl thing, is I realized I've got a really good system built in right now. I figured it out last week. I've really got, or whatever week I started it, but a really good system now where I can post one roleplay, which is just stupid nonsense, and then the second roleplay can be like a wee public announcement, you know, where he kind of delivers a straight piece to the camera where he talks about trying to get more votes, and he tries to just, you know, talk down his opponents, you know, the way like political guys do. Where they go, don't vote for this charlatan. He touches children. you know, like they try to put all the focus on them and downplay their opponents. So I really like how I can use that, you know. So I'm probably going to be doing that, and that way I think I've got more of a shot at winning if I do like a semi-serious one and a really dumb one. You know, it gives me a better chance, and it kind of legitimizes Al Snow a little bit.
But it also stays true to the character as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is what you're looking to do.
The thing is, though, this is all the reason I want to be in Super Brawl is because I had an idea for one roleplay a couple of weeks ago. I had one idea for one roleplay, and it's brilliant. but it's really serious.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, you couldn't imagine Al Snow doing a serious role play.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't work. So I'm going to leave it in with these Super Brawl re-announcements to try and, show that he can kind of do a serious role play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hit you with the best role play you've ever seen at Super Brawl.
Well, now you're just making a case on this podcast, aren't you?
Well, now I'm saying you guys got to pick me because I'm going to deliver the best role play you've ever read.
Pick you? Hell, Al Snow could wind up being a captain.
Oh, dude, I would love nothing better than that. Here's something really funny, by the way. It's not about Super Brawl, but last year, whenever Steve Blackman was the Grand Slam champion, my plan was I imagined Paul Burchill was going to be champion over Super Brawl. So what I was going to do was I was going to have Al Snow challenge Burchill to a match. Obviously I was going to run this by Dan first. I wasn't just going to do it. But I was going to have Al Snow challenge Burchill to a match for the triple or the Grand Slam championship before Super Brawl, whenever all the teams have been picked already. And that Burchill's definitely going to be in Super Brawl because he's the champion. And then have Al Snow win and be the champion and be the leader of, Burchill's faction or whatever, going into Super Brawl. And everybody was like, what the fuck? Holy shit, Al Snow's, he's going to go into Super Brawl as a champion. And then the week after on Slam, just have a big takeover where Al Snow acts as the leader of this group and they all have to take it because he's the leader,
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, he gives the title back to Burchill and goes, it was worth it just to have that week as champion. I don't actually want to be Super Brawl. That's too much for me. It's all yours, And I thought that was a really good way I just thought it'd be really funny,
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever Blackman won the title last year, I thought, well, this is perfect. I can fucking do this myself. I don't even have to ask Dan now. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And then fucking Kurt Angle ruined that.
Yeah. Well, fucking Bryce.
I know. What the fuck, dude? That was
speaking of that, let's touch on that real quick. You and Bryce, obviously very close. Talk quite often.
Mm-hmm.
You look back on the whole Sim suicide thing, and there's one little point that sticks out in it where there was a bagpipe report produced on like a Wednesday, and then on Friday, a Suicide Steve Blackman pay-per-view match came to fruition.
Yeah.
But you didn't know.
No, I had no idea. But I got really suspicious whenever this guy who was Suicide goes, hey, I'd like to do a wee angle with you in between, like, pay-per-views, if you wouldn't mind, like a wee mini feud. I'm like, all right, I got nothing else going. Let's just do that. I had no idea it was Bryce. And, looking back at it now, I'm like, well, of course it was Bryce. Who else would reach out to Steve Blackman and go, I want to work an angle with you,
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious it was him. He got us all good, didn't he?
Yeah, indeed. And that's not a knock on Steve Blackman or anything, but, like, that's not where the new guy's mind goes. I feel like if these people are coming in, and let's say legitimately a new person came in, I think in his mind he's like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to work with Val Venus or Steve Corino or, this person or this person. He's probably going to look at it and be like, oh, fuck, they got a Brock Lesnar. I'm going to work with Brock Lesnar. Like they have a Triple H. Like that's where their mind usually is drawn to. So
exactly. Yeah.
Obviously we should have known that it was someone who has seen your work before and would be drawn to the Steve Blackman character and want to work with him.
Yeah.
You look back and there are definitely pieces where you're like, shit, how did I not get this?
It's really funny because whatever pay-per-view he unmasked himself as Kurt Angle, I read like the first role play that Suicide did. And as I was reading it, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of the kind of role play Bryce does.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of, I just like it was kind of similar.
Like, he would have told me, right?
Yeah, I'm like, this is, obviously it's not Bryce because, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burn. It just, but there were like little, because I've read Bryce's role plays for years and I kind of know the way he writes, and there was just a little hint in it that I'm like, oh, that seems kind of familiar, But I didn't think it was him.
Well, you were wrong, weren't you?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I see. What game did we play last time you were on? Did you do Penis in your anus?
We did, but I didn't have anything for it. But I have something for it this time if you want to play it.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and cue up the music then. Penis in your anus time.
And now it's time for...
Penis in Uranus, 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 penis in Uranus.
All right, now, as you know, and as Corey was so nice to point out in his podcast this week, penis in Uranus is just something about the EWA that you'd like to change, or something you'd like to see done differently. So usually this is timed. Fuck it. You got 45 minutes to tell me what it is you would like to see done differently in the EWA, Dylan.
Well, one thing I don't really like about the EWA, and that I like it's all to kind of change, is like unnecessary feedback, or like people looking unnecessary feedback. You know what I mean? People looking feedback when they don't want feedback, where they just kind of want people to go, "Hey, nice job, buddy, you did really well." You know, it's like, well, if you ask for feedback, you're gonna get feedback. But
that's not to take away your point, but that's why I started that one community feedback thread. I was like. Yeah. It's you get feedback when you give feedback.
Yeah.
That was my point with it. Like, you want this feedback, that's why you're posting in this thread. But to get that feedback, you have to give someone else feedback.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. I don't like people just kind of like, stroking their ego or anything like that, like, it's kind of hard to explain. I think it's probably different, but I feel like whenever you see big guys going for it, like Steve or Bryce or somebody other guy who goes, "Oh, give me some feedback on my roleplay, you guys." I'm like, "Well, do you need it? You guys know you're good. You're in the the main event all the time. Do you need us to keep telling you how good your roleplays are?" You know what I mean?
Do you feel like that's kind of like a ploy? Like, they think Newt will read the feedback and see that everyone else thinks their stuff is great, so maybe Newt, by some sort of, like, proxy brainwash, will also think their stuff is great?
I don't think it's that. I think that sometimes you just want people to read it and to know that you put a lot of time and effort into it. And it's nice to hear people say, you did a really good job. You know what I mean? But
I wish personally that I had more time to read everyone's stuff.
Yeah.
I do. And it's not that I don't not read people's stuff out of spite or because I don't like them. I genuinely enjoy everyone here in the EWA, and I think we're all tremendous writers. I just wish that I had more time to where I could sit down and read their stuff and really see like where they're going and stuff, because I enjoy reading everyone's role plays.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that as well. Like, I used to read like everybody's role plays, but I don't have the time to keep up with every single one that I want to, which is a shame. Yeah, but I like reading them, and like if they do like in a pay-per-view, at the end of the week, I used to put a wee thread up called, everybody did, you wrote your asses off, you really kicked ass, it was a really, really good pay-per-view, you guys rock, and that's nice. But it seems a bit weird kind of individually singling some people out and going, "Hey, I liked your triplets at the bottom of that segment, buddy," and whatever. I think
for Red, White, and Bruised, I did that. Like, I read every single role play that week, and I gave like overall feedback and like specifically touched on each thing for like some people, and then like a lot of people just never even responded, and I was like, "Wow, this is just what's the point?"
Yeah, but that's it. I quite like it when other people give feedback that isn't requested for. I think it's much nicer whenever people kind of point out, like, "Hey, by the way, Craig, your roleplay was really good." That's really nice, instead of you going, "Hey guys, tell me how good my roleplay was." You know what I mean?
Right. Because there's something, you get something more out of someone taking the time out to read it, enjoy it, and then take the time to tell you that they enjoyed it.
Yeah. Also, if you post in the roleplay feedback yourself, you just imagine that, I do, that people don't actually read it and just go, "Oh, it was great." You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They just like, "Oh, this guy's been around forever." "Yeah, your roleplay was fine." "Yeah, it was good. It was all right."
"Yeah, I'm trying a new direction here with Al Snow. What do you guys think?" "Oh, it was great. I really like what you did. Good
stuff."
Pretty
good. "Yeah, I like this new haircut. It's lovely." Yeah. But then, doesn't it mean way more if, like, you post and go, "By the way, loved Al Snow's new haircut." They'll be like, "Oh, that's nice. He noticed. That's really cool."
That's why we need to bring back the community feedback thread.
I think so. Let's do it. Well, you and me will do it.
All right. We'll just do each other's feedback over and over.
Yay.
All right. We got it set then.
All right.
That was Dylan's Penis in Uranus. Dylan, I want to go ahead and get you out of here. I want to thank you for coming on. You when the podcast was down and out for a while and busy with work, you actually reached out to me and you were like, hey, I don't know if the podcast isn't going because you can't find people, but if that's the case, right here's your guy. And I always remember that. I didn't get back to it immediately, but I knew whenever I brought the podcast back that you were one of the first people I was going to reach out to. So I'm terribly glad to have you on. I love what you've done with Al Snow here recently. I love what he did with his haircut. And, you've kind of elevated Al's game here lately, and I hope that you get a chance to take Al in the Super Brawl, and I hope that someone takes a flyer on him. And if I get the opportunity and the situation is right, then we'll see what happens. But I'm definitely pulling for you to get in there.
For the record, can I just say I don't want people to pick him out of pity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want people to go, oh, he really wants in. Let's just invite him to the party. It's not like that at all. If there's somebody better that you could pick over Al Snow, pick that guy.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. It doesn't matter how many captains there are. If there winds up being 3 or 4 captains, you're going to be hard-pressed to find 15 or 14 better riders in this Fed than you.
Well, I'll tell you what, part of the ploy about retiring Blackman was that, no, it's Super Brawl. You guys have no choice. If you want me in your team, you got to pick Al Snow. Those are the rules.
Well, I guess since you're going to corner us.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I could bring back Lance Storm again.
Oh, now I haven't seen Lance Storm's work, but I would love to see some sort of comeback. I'm actually really intrigued by this new character thing that you might have going on. So hopefully,
it's gonna be a really good guy.
Hopefully you get some time to do that. Dylan, once again, thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute treat. I love sitting down and picking your brain. Getting a chance to talk to you about the Al Snow stuff is always something that the people like to hear about. So I want to thank you for coming on. Anything you'd like to send off to the EWA universe here?
Yeah, I do actually. I have something really important to say that I don't think we touched upon in the podcast at all this week. Was that Steve's a prick?
Oh yeah, well
yeah.
Absolutely, and that's been mentioned before, and I think Newt really took care of it for us this week. So
I cannot wait to hear that.
No worries about that. All right, Dylan, thank you for coming on. Best of luck at Funaki's wrestling camp.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it.
And we will see you on the road to Super Brawl.
Yeah.